Hello guys, welcome to another video. So for this video, I'm going to walk you through how to set up an AWS account. So let's get started. So really to start with setting up an AWS account is quite straightforward. So all you have to do is just go to aws.amazon.com/free. So this will take you to this page here, where you have the option to really create a free account. But before we proceed to creating this account, let's see what this gives you. So when you sign up a free account, you will get these items for free. So essentially, you get EC2 for free for 12 months, and you get 750 hours per month. So that's a lot for you to do your testing. So if you are new to cloud and you want to really learn, this will be a very good opportunity to really get your feet wet. So let's see what this one actually comes with. So with a 750 hours per month, you can deploy these specific instances. So you can deploy these Linux instances, T2 micro and T3 micro. And for Windows 2, you can also deploy the same type of instance, T2 micro and also T3 micro. It's not really a big sort of like instance, but it's enough for you to really get yourself up to speed with how AWS actually work. And it's not just about EC2 that you get. You also get a free S3 as well. So you got 5 gig of data, that you can actually save on S3. And when it comes to RDS2, you also get 750 hours of RDS per month. And this will be for 12 months period. So after 12 months, then you wouldn't have these assets anymore. But there are certain type of services that will be always going to be free. So for example, when we come to the Lambda, it's always free. So you always have 1 million free requests per month. And with machine learning, it's just I think it's also a free trial, so 2 months free of machine learning. Database is always going to be free, 25 gig of DynamoDB data. So as you can see, when you sign this up, you can get all these free services, so you can really understand how AWS work, and you can use this to really set up your own labs. If you are preparing for any of the AWS certification, this will be an easier way to really practice yourself. So let's get started with it setup. So let's go up, and to set this up, let's click on create a new free account. So click on that option here, and you'll be presented with the option to sign up. So the first thing we're going to do is set up what we call the root user. So the root account is literally going to be tied to a specific email you supply, and it's very, very important you actually save this, keep it somewhere safe, and don't use it for your normal administration. So once we set this up, you create other users that you can use for other purposes. So for example, you can create administrative user, and if your organization, then you have to use what we call the RBAC. That means you have to make sure the people you are assigning permissions to or roles to is tailored to the jobs they do, and nothing more, nothing less. So role-based access control. So you have to keep that in mind. So let's get started. So let's first of all type in our email address. I'm just going to use this email address here, and then give your account a name. So I'll just give it a name as that. So just do email verification. So once you click on it, it will send you a code in your email which you need to verify. So I'm just going to go straight into my email, grab the code, and then put that code in here. So I'm just grabbing the code now. Now paste the code into this window. Then click on verify. The verification is successful. Now we can create our password. Right. So then let's click on continue. In this session, you have to select what you are going to use the account for. Because this one is a personal account, we'll go for the personal. So do not select the business if you're not organization. So I'll select the personal account, and then I'll supply my name and details. So I'm based in UK, so I'm just going to search for United Kingdom, and then I can put in my telephone number. Then select country. Then put in my address as well. All right, so the address is done. Then we need to use a credit card, so they need to confirm that they can obviously make a deduction if you use any of the services. That means if you go over your free allocations, so then they can deduct money. But one of the key things I will highly recommend is that when you set this up, if you don't want to go over your free allowance, just set up budget. So that means a budget will always remind you whenever you're going over your free allocations. All right. So I'm just going to type in my credit card details. All right, so I've typed in my details in. Just going to click on verify, and this should essentially drop it £1 or $1 into my account, and all I need to do is confirm that. So I'm just going to get my app on my mobile device, and then I'll just simply confirm. So here we go. Confirmation done successfully. And then I need to confirm my identity. So here again, I just type in the country, my telephone number, and then verify this code here. Okay, so just going to hit the option to call. So they would literally call you. So I'm just going to click on the button, and I should receive a call momentarily. Here we go. So I'll accept the call.
This is an automated call from Amazon Web Services. Using the touchpad on your phone, please enter the 4-digit PIN number that was displayed on your screen.
Okay, so here we go.
We have successfully verified your PIN. Please return to Amazon Web Services to complete your registration. Thank you for your interest in Amazon Web Services. Goodbye.
All right, so verification done successfully. Now I'm presented with a support plan. So the support plan is all about when you have issues, you can easily call in, and then they will help you if you select one of these two options. Right, but since we are just setting up a trial, we just want to use the free services. We'll be limited to self-service help, essentially. That means we're going to utilize only the available resources that they do have online if we need any help with any of the issues that you might encounter in the future. So I'm okay with that. So I'll stick to the basic support plan, and then I'll click on complete sign up. Congratulations, you successfully signed up to an AWS account. So to access your account, simply click on go to AWS Management Console, and then it will take you to the sign in page. and it will be presented the option to sign in with the root user. At the moment, that's the only type of user we have, but later what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the IAM user. But for our first login, we need to use this option. But then after, we will just store our root user somewhere safe, and then we set up an MFA so that we have a level of protection on it. So that means even if someone steals our credentials, they will still have to use another factor of authentication to really get into our account. So let's log in with a root user. So I'm just going to type in the email address I use to set my account up, and then I'll type in my password. Now simply sign in. So that's it. So you've successfully created an AWS account, and once you log in for the first time, this is what you will see. I mean, everything is more like plain, blank. Once you start to utilize the services, the recent visited items will start to populate in the session. And yeah, so what we are going to do now is we're going to go into the IAM, where we will add an MFA to our root user, and then we'll probably follow up to create another user which we're going to use for the administrative purposes. So let's click on IAM, and then you see this message here, a security recommendation. It will give you the recommendation to ensure that you do have an MFA set up. And as you can see there, the triangle right there, that means you have not added one yet. So it's really easy to do this. All you have to do is just click on add MFA, and then you'll be presented with this screen here. Just type in your device name. So just name it, make sure there's no space in between. I'll just type in Coffee Phone, and then for the MFA device type, you have 3 options. So you can use an authenticator app, security key, or hardware token. So authenticator app is like Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, so those type of authentication services. So I'll stick with that one, and I'll click on next, and this is where you do your setup. So if you have not installed any of these authenticator app yet, this is the time for you to do it in step 1. So go ahead, install Google Authenticator, Duo, or Opti, but I'm going to use Microsoft Authenticator for this purpose. Right, so I'll need to first of all use the QR code. So I'm just going to display the QR code by clicking on show QR code. Once it shows up, I'll just have to load up the Authenticator app on my phone and scan this QR code. So I'm just going to scan that now. Okay, so I've scanned it successfully. Now I have to move to number 3. So for number 3, just have to type in the MFA code. All right, so done. So this time it worked successfully. So here we go. We've now set up an MFA on this account. So we have the root user protected as well. So now what we're going to do is create another user. So that user will solely be used for the administrative purposes. So we're not going to use a root user for our normal day-to-day sort of like activities like setting up users, set up resources. That's not what this is for. I mean, it's more like for breakout glass. When there's a real emergency, probably can use the root user for your normal administration. Then you probably need a different user for that. And like I said, you need to think about role-based access control in your organization. Whenever you have a user, if their job is to manage your, let's say, your EC2, your compute, then make sure the users the sort of permission they get is tailored to the job they do. This will help you greatly when it comes to security. So let's proceed to set up a user. So click on the user object here and click on add user, and then just type in the name of your user, and we want to provide this user access to the console. So we will provide user access to the console, and you get these two options. I'm just going to use the IAM user to create, but you can also use the identity center. It's the recommended one, but I'll stick with the IAM user object. And then you can create your own custom password, or you can generate a brand new password for that matter as well. And what I will do is I will uncheck this option. I mean, in the event that you want the user who you probably will provide this information to change the password when they first log in, then you can check this option. But since this one is test, it's just going to be me logging in. I'll stick with the password I've created here. So once you're done, just click on next. And you'll be presenting the option to add a permission, right? The recommendation is to really add a user to a group and then attach permission to the group. That's the best way possible, because in organization, you have users that probably can move from one department to the other, and they might change roles. When they do that, you can just move the user to a different group that will give them the permission for that user group that they fall into. So that means whenever they move, you don't necessarily have to go to that specific user object and change the permissions. You just move the user to another group, and then they are automatically assume the permissions for that specific group. So this is the recommended approach. But since this is just a test, what I'll do is I'll just attach the policy directly to the user object. And then once you scroll down, you see the permission policies. So for this user, I'll give this user the admin rights, right? But as you can see, there is a huge number of different policies, and it is about 1,163 policies created by Amazon. But you can also even create your own as well. But I'll stick with the administrator access for this specific user. Once you're happy with that, just scroll to the bottom and click on next. And then you can scroll to the bottom again and click on create user. And that successfully create that user, and you can simply log into this user account. All right. So for us to log in, let's return to the user list. Let's continue. And in the user list, we can then log this user. We log in using this user. So probably what I'll do is I'll just go to the dashboard so I can see information about this specific account. So I'm just going to make sure I have the account ID. So I'll copy the account ID, or I can use this URL to sign in, and that will include the account ID as well. So what I'll do is, let me just click on this option, copy that, open this one in a new window, and then I should be presented the option to log in, and the account ID will be populated by default once I use that link. So now I can log in with the user I just created, and then sign in. And there you go. So you've successfully signed in with a user we created. Now this user can be used for our administrative purposes. We don't need to use our root user for that. So for this video, we've learned how to set up your AWS account, how to set up your own MFA for your root user, and also we created a user that we can use for administering of our account, our daily activities on this account. So I hope you've learned a lot from this video. If this video helped you out, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.